rounds that were found near the suspected shooter contain messages that are anti-ICE in nature.
The left is violent. Change my mind. Look, we don't have all the information, and here's the one thing I will say. We're going to try and comb through this and get you information as we are able to verify it. If we get information that we can't verify, but we believe, and we have good reason to believe, is accurate, I'll let you know that it's initially reported. Yeah. And we provide all the references, and I highly encourage, by the way, all other creators to do that, especially given the recent circumstances in which we found ourselves where there's misinformation. And I would say, if you want to use the both sides argument, misinformation is just as bad on both sides right now. That is true. The violence is almost exclusive to the left. The tone, the tenor, the escalation can rest squarely on the shoulders of the left, but misinformation is going around on both sides. And I get that can be confusing, concussive. So here's what we know. This morning, multiple people were shot at an ICE facility in Dallas, Texas. As I understand, the shooter killed himself, and I know 3 people were shot initially reported. Do we know if any
it seems like right now the reporting is that 1 dead, 2 shot. I've seen people say that a second person has died, but I have not seen any confirmation on that yet.
Dear God, I hope not. Obviously, prayers and our hearts go out to anyone affected. I hope you guys understand that immigration policy and deportation is very different from murder. I know the left will try and draw some kind of equivalency. No one is advocating that, and let it be known in the comments section. Show that you're better than the left, more than half of the left, in gleefully celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Hit that comment button, Toolman. I want the world to see you guys for who you really are so they can't try and use this in the future. But they will falsely anyway. Here's a news update from, I believe, an affiliate.
Griff, we just heard from Todd Lyons. He said, hi, we had shots fired into the Dallas ICE office, into the ICE office, specifically into the Sallyport, as you were saying, Griff, area where detainees are brought in. 3 people have been shot and en route to the hospital. Reports are the shooter is down from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Reports are all ICE employees are accounted for, still searching and securing the scene.
And again, I asked you, we don't know. If you have to bet your bottom dollar, your life depends on it, what would you think is more likely? Someone targeted an ICE facility specifically to kill detainees who very likely could have been on their way to being deported, or, considering the rhetoric that we've seen, more likely to be targeting ICE agents? Yes, do you have an update?
So the update right now is that NBC is confirming that a second person has died. So 2 of the 3 people that were hit have died. And it does look like they were detainees, not any of the ICE people that was said in that clip originally. So it looks like detainees were hit. So we're not sure if they were targeted. They were shooting into the building kind of haphazardly, and those were the people that were hit.
Yeah.
We don't know yet.
Either way, it's horrible.
Yeah.
And I would say I hope this man faces justice, but he did kill himself, which, frankly, you'd rather be able to pull the switch on someone like this.
Yeah.
But we'll keep updating you. Of course, DHS Secretary Noem did write on X. Yeah. Not the dog thing.
Jeez.
She said, wow. That didn't sound like a dog, Billy. That's the problem. It was supposed to be a
I thought that's what she wrote. I was like, how do you spell that?
Yeah, well, I don't know. She AIs it in through text to speech to text.
Man.
She wrote, there was a shooting this morning at the Dallas ICE Gov field office. Details are still emerging, but we can confirm that there were multiple injuries, fatalities. The shooter is deceased by a self-inflicted gunshot wound. And it looks like they're going to be delivering an update that we are seeing right now in the news.
Yeah.
So, Let's kind of walk us back through how we got here, though, and the reason why, if I were to go on a hunch, and it could go either way, to be clear. But this is not the first time that we've seen ICE facilities be targeted violently or simply illegally, as we saw with Antifa yesterday, and they've been declared a terrorist organization. July 11th, there are people charged with trying to ambush. It was an attempted ambush at an ICE facility in Alvarado, Texas. And I don't believe that has been registered anywhere as leftist political violence up to this point. Some of the charts only go to the year 2025. Yes, Noodles.
Just want to recognize that's in July 11 we're charged, not on July 11th.
Oh, I'm sorry. In July 11 we're charged. I have it written down as July 11th. Admonish me, guys. I deserve it.
Not me.
I deserve it, if only for being me today.
Admonish.
And is it a leap to think that people, considering we have seen attacks on ICE, and we have seen the radicalization. And by that, I just mean the leftist indoctrination. It's not radicalization. I don't think it's radicalization when President Biden says not allowing your child to take puberty blockers is a great evil. I don't think it's, how do you say it's radicalization when it's the presidential candidate, at that point the former vice president sitting as president, And then the vice president, Kamala Harris, who supported paying for transgender inmate sex change operations. Radicalizing usually means someone goes down a rabbit hole, an echo chamber, and they sort of get absorbed into the fringe. Can that argument be made? Is it fringe when the president and vice president, the candidates of that political party, are espousing that? I don't think it's radicalizing. I think it's simply indoctrinating.
Yeah, radicals are outsiders.
Yeah.
That's what they say. Oh, you're radical left, you're radical right, you're radical something.
Right. Yeah, I don't think...
If it's mainstream, it's not radical.
I guess when people say, how do these leftists get radicalized? Well, I don't know. Did they go to university? Because they would be hearing in every class that right-wingers want to genocide trans people. They would be hearing in every class that ICE is the modern-day Gestapo. They would be hearing in every class that silence is violence. I don't think that's radicalization when you are a forced pupil. You have to sit and listen to this. So the radicalizing of the left takes place in college, takes place on mainstream media, takes place in all of our institutions. And when they say radicalized right, what they actually mean is a fringe person who's picked up a point of view somewhere in the dark web. It's not the same thing. And let's get back to, is it a logical leap to say, hey, maybe someone could have been indoctrinated to believe that ICE is the modern day Gestapo? Where would they have gotten that?
Donald Trump's modern day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets. They're in unmarked vans wearing masks, being shipped off to foreign torture dungeons.
Masked agents of the state in unmarked vehicles are terrorizing communities. They are disappearing people. They are targeting the political opponents of the president. They are partnering with Trump's donors, Silicon Valley oligarchs, for a sinister and deeply un-American agenda.
Masked men jumping out of unmarked cars, people disappearing, no due process. No oversight, zero accountability happening in the United States of America today. People ask, well, is authoritarianism, you're being hyperbolic? Bull, we're being hyperbolic.
If anyone's breaking the law in this situation, it's not members of Congress, it's the Department of Homeland Security. It's people like Tom Homan and Secretary Kristi Noem.
We don't live in a
radicalizing,
country,
I guess,
authoritarian country where we have secret police who are masked, who are intimidating, who are scaring people. That's the stuff of authoritarian states.
Every single ICE agent who's engaged in this aggressive overreach and are trying to hide their identities from the American people will be unsuccessful in doing that. This is America.
Yeah, I wonder where someone could have been radicalized to think that ICE is Gestapo or aggressive or violent. Oh, that's right. They said it directly. Right now, there's an update. Mayor Eric Johnson of Dallas. Let's go to it really quickly.
We're a country and a city that needs prayer. So I'm going to ask you all to join me also in praying for this city, that we can come together at a time like this, and that we can be there for one another the way we always have in times like this.
Does that include ICE?
Support one another, help us all get through this very difficult time, not just in our city, but in our country. And that's why I'd ask you to pray for our nation. There's a lot going on right now in our country. A lot of it's confusing. It's a scary time. I've got children. I've got 3 young children, and I'm here to tell you that it is challenging to explain to them what's going on in our country right now. But I said before, and I'll say it again, I believe in the power of prayer to change things, and it can change the hearts of people. It can change this country. It can change the city. So please pray for everyone.
That's a stark contrast to the condemnation of prayers. So
I also want to say thank you to the Dallas Police Department, and say thank you to the Dallas Sheriff's Department, Dallas County Sheriff's Department, Texas Department of Public Safety, and all of our various federal law enforcement partners who acted so quickly today to make sure that today's tragedy wasn't worse than what it was. So on behalf of the city of Dallas, I want to say thank you to all of you. And you're going to hear from some of those folks later, but I want to let you know that we appreciate what you all do, not just today, but every day to help keep us all safe.
Yeah. It was a great start compared to what we've seen in the past.
And this is really important, I would ask all of you all of you, all of the city of Dallas residents who can hear me right now, let's be patient, let's remain calm, and let's let our law enforcement partners, our police department, do their job. This is an active investigation. There's still a lot of unanswered questions.
Really quickly, he left the Democrat Party in 2023 over crime.
I do remember that, yeah.
To exercise a little bit of restraint and allow them to do their job to help make sure this continues to be a safe city and that they can help us figure out what happened here today. But with that, I want to say, again, thank you to all the folks who came out this morning from our law enforcement community. I'll turn it over to our Police Chief Daniel Como.
Really quickly, before that, guys, I'll just let you know we are going to do some gifted subs here today. If you're on YouTube, we're people there in the chat who are members of Rumble Premium. You can, right now, it's open, gift subscriptions out there. We can't do this without your support, and we'll read the name of every person who gifts subs later on. I guess you have a stinger? In retrospect, that stinger didn't strike the right tone.
Yeah, it's odd timing to say the least.
Go to the police. Go to the police chief. I apologize.
DPD was able to locate the shooter who was deceased. We're going to be working this investigation shoulder to shoulder with our federal partners.
Kind of looks like Vampire Ben Carson.
And right now, I'm going to introduce you to the SAC
and the way he talks.
Dallas Field Division, FBI
that goatee is
Blade
very
Carson.
clean. Blade Carson.
Yeah, good morning. My name's Joe Rothrock. I'm the special agent in charge of the Dallas FBI field office. I want to first start by thanking our partners in local law enforcement, specifically the Dallas Police Department, for their quick and timely response. I can confirm at this time that the FBI is investigating this incident as an act of targeted violence. It is unfortunately just the most recent example we've seen of targeted violence, to include here in North Texas, where back on July 4th, we saw a coordinated attack carried out against an immigration detention center in Alvarado, Texas.
There was also a bomb threat at this facility in August.
Early evidence that we've seen from rounds that were found near the suspected shooter contain messages that are anti-ICE in nature.
Jesus.
Again, this is just the most recent example
Ban
of this
Dremels.
type of attack. This will be a whole of government response. There will be no resource.
So, guys, I hate to do this to Mission Control because we've put together a great show and a lot of work, and I know everyone here is spread thin. Can you pull some of the most prominent leftist either clips or posts on X that were saying this was a MAGA shooter? You know, a repeat of Jimmy Kimmel, because I was seeing that all morning. And it doesn't mean this is 100% confirmed.
It too.
Immediately.
I hope you guys see, I tried to say, we don't know. It could go either way, but it's my hunch. And we actually had a segment prepared to make the case. Well, we don't need to now because this seems to be confirmed. Let's listen and continue.
Again, any piece of information.
Bet you this never would have been listed as political violence from the left by Cato or by The Economist or the Prosecution Project before you put eyes on it. Now they'll have to include it. Remember, they didn't include, we got a Trump voter here, bang, bang, told the cops I shot him because he's a Trump supporter. That was not included as leftist political violence. This would never have been included until you guys demanded transparency and accountability. You can keep a ledger and live in real time now. Don't be gaslit by the left. Where is the violence? From where is it coming? It has been consistently from one side, and it's to create a culture of fear for standing up for your beliefs. This is the same kind of terrorism that we saw with Charlie Kirk.
You know, you said it was a good start with the mayor and what he said, Eric Johnson there. But I would have liked for him to have not just said, vaguely, our federal partners, let law enforcement do their job, and in our federal partners. Can you say ICE?
Can you say ICE?
Can you say ICE? Can you say to the people in Dallas, North, can you say, let ICE do their job?
Yeah.
That's or are you afraid to say that?
Yeah, good point. I want to see what this man in the cowboy hat says.
ICE employees. So that's kind of all I have for today.
So I think you just said it seemed like it was targeted against ICE employees, if I'm not mistaken.
And people are losing their lives. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for coming. We really appreciate it.
Here's my prediction.
Again, thank you all so much.
The leftist, the book, you know what? Bookmark this. Yeah, not only would this not, but here's my other prediction. Watch the leftist Reddit message boards, those places, whatever, the bowels of the internet. They will be making the argument like, oh, so they're losing their lives, but they're taking lives and they're ruining people's lives. Guarantee you that will be a mainstream talking point from many people on the left that you'll see online, just like those celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder. Bookmark it. Come back.
It'd be interesting to see if, like you said, they won't bookmark it as violence from the left, but who they killed is not ICE agents.
Well, that was the first bookmark before we started the show, but now I'm saying bookmark in addition. They will say ICE was taking lives. You were about to say...
just wanted to clarify, too. So right now, NBC was the source for 2 people having been killed. Right now, police are confirming 1. That doesn't mean that 2 weren't. It just means that right now, police are only confirming 1. So just to be clear, right now, you obviously see that on the lower part of the screen from CNN there.
Okay.
And one post we're going to keep a real close eye on, because this started kind of a chain of other posts. There were other people, the Krasenstein brothers and, Angry Staffer and a bunch of other people who posted about this. But before we get to those, I really just want to go to the tweet the post by J.D. Vance, and it's under the Peter Twinklage. I'm just going to read it from there. So the obsessive attack on law enforcement, particularly ICE, must stop. I'm praying for everyone hurt in this attack and for their families. A lot of the people that are responding to this right now are jumping off of that post and saying that the vice president is going out there and making this about something that it's clearly not, and I can't believe it, and you're getting a lot of backlash from that.
And it clearly is.
When he was 100%, even if he doesn't know, the attacks on ICE must stop. They were shooting at an ICE facility.
Yes.
Okay.
Can you bring that back up, though? Because it was in response to Peter Twinklage. Can you bring it up?
It wasn't in response to Peter. Peter responded to
Oh,
J.D.
okay.
Vance.
Sorry. Again, guys, I'm looking at this on a small screen.
Yeah, it's smaller,
breaking.
so.
Peter Twinklage responded, the white male shooter reportedly targeted 3 detainees and not a single ICE agent was hurt. But I'm glad Soylenial Big Chungus is on the case and has already deciphered the motive. Here's the thing. Keep it up. Keep it up. Reportedly targeted 3 detainees. Let me ask you this. On what is he basing that? Reportedly targeted. In other words, he is, in fact, describing a motive. Reportedly targeted. Targeted means hunting. Like Charlie Kirk. Like yours truly. Like Tim Pool. Like Patrick Bet-David. People have been coming out of the woodwork saying, yeah, we've been dealing with this. We've been swatted. People have been trying to take our lives. Yeah, we had to deal with an acid milkshake or concrete, and people fight Molotov cocktails. We are being hunted. And that right there is saying targeted detainees. Well, on what is Peter Twinklage basing that? This is the gaslighting. They just tell you the opposite of the truth. J.D. Vance is lying. I know that it's reported they targeted detainees. Well, you're giving a motive. What's that based on? Also, J.D. Vance, as a general rule, doesn't tend to go off half-cocked unless he has some information. So I'm willing to bet he had some information probably at that point in time, more than us.
I mean, I imagine somebody shot up an ICE facility. That's what we knew at the time. And so the attacks on ICE must stop. Where was he getting that? The montage that we just showed you guys, that's where he's getting that.
Yeah.
Because there are people attacking ICE all the time. In California, they just voted so that the ICE agents could not have masks on when they're going and doing it. The only reason the masks were even a thing is because people tried to dox ICE agents and get them killed. This has been the climate that we're in. So somebody shoots up a facility in that climate, a climate where the bomb threat was made in August, where there was a coordinated attack in Texas on July 4th. Like, that is obvious to say, hey, let's stop demonizing ICE for deporting people who shouldn't be here in the first place. And for people to come out of the woodworks on that particular post, and the Krasensteins didn't even, I think, respond to that post initially. They're idiots all by themselves. They don't even need any prompting. Both Ed and Brian. So this is sick. This is Trump's America. I can't believe that they're targeting these people. Not at all addressing what the real problem is. Listen, this I'm reading it as if he typed really fast. This us sick, he meant is. A white male, again, has reportedly open fire at immigrants at an ICE facility in Dallas, Texas. We certainly have a problem in this country, a disgusting problem. Yes, Brian. Okay, so you're close. You're close. Yeah. We have a problem in this country. Can you help me identify what it is? Because it matters. Somebody else told me, and I responded to this. Shouldn't we just start with saying violence should stop on both sides? No, that sounds really nice, but it doesn't actually get to the root of why you have violence. And that also presumes that you have a willing partner on the other side to agree that we need to stop the violence. Right now, you and I, Stephen, no violence, right? We've called for that.
Well, the day is young.
The day is young. You never know, and you might be mad at me later on. I get it.
I will.
We don't want any violence. Fine. That presumes that on the other side, they're not demonizing us at every single turn and calling us Nazis and saying there won't be elections in 2028.
Yeah.
We don't have a willing partner on the other side right now. I wish we did.
There is no finding common ground. There is no finding common ground with the people who are purveyors of this misinformation.
And the point I was trying to make earlier,
yes, sorry.
We went to CNN real quick, but this will be classified as violence against the left because ICE agents weren't hit.
Right.
Just like that Peter Twinkertard or whatever his name is.
Well, also, here's the thing, too. If you look at those crime stats out there, any violence, and we've gone through this, Cato and The Economist. You can go and see those segments, by the way, and I've addressed it on Tim Pool's show. Any violence committed against a government facility is automatically labeled right-wing, even, in many instances, Antifa violence.
Because right-wingers are
anti-government.
Yeah.
So this would be labeled. And again, it will change now, just to be clear, because you have put eyes on it. This does matter, guys, quite a bit. And I'll explain to you why I was making an inference, earlier. The reason I was making an inference is if someone was out there trying to kill immigrants, there are easier targets than ICE facilities, sanctuary cities.
Home Depot.
There are encampments.
I mean, why would you go to a law enforcement facility
where they're more likely
people
to be
have
protected?
guns and will arrest you for doing this?
Exactly. So
why would you? How does that even make sense?
Right. So that was point number one. I go, okay, so that would tend to tilt this one direction. Then I also said, okay, has there been rhetoric from the right saying that we should deport people who are here illegally or we should kill all of them? It's what they condemn you for, what they condemn Donald Trump for, is deporting people. They say that's inhumane. Well, let me ask you this. What's more inhumane? Okay, what is more radicalizing, indoctrinated? A statement, for example, that has been labeled as evil and violent. I don't think that children should be allowed to take puberty blockers. I don't think children should be allowed to take chemical castration drugs, mind-altering hormones, or get sex changes. Is that more dangerous rhetoric, or is it more hateful rhetoric than ICE is the modern Gestapo?
Or as Tim Walz said, gazpacho.
Yes, exactly. Well, he wanted a cold soup.
Yeah, well.
Is it more radical? Is it more hate-inspiring? Is it more dangerous for someone to say, hey, we have to secure our borders, and a big part of that is stopping sex trafficking. This has to be a country where you sign the guest book. Is that more dangerous than saying, Charlie Kirk wants to commit trans genocide? And yes, I'm juxtaposing immigration and trans in both instances. Which one is more dangerous? And really important, here's the checkmate from the left. Here's the boxing in of their mentally ill followers is there are never going to be elections again. So all these positions are violence, right, guys? The trans positions, right? The immigration positions, right? The tax positions, right? All of these positions are violence. And by the way, there's no way to stop it at the ballot box because they aren't going to have elections anymore. Why are we surprised that someone takes it into their own hands when they have been told that we will be experiencing violence for the rest of America's future unless you fix it, and you can't do it through the democratic process? Of course, one other thing before you go, Gerald. Here's why this is so important too on the crime statistics. The left is violent. Change my mind, to be clear. Cato, which has fallen so far. The other one is The Economist, and there might be one or two other studies that have come out. The purpose of crime statistics, the purpose of establishing motive is to assess risk going forward and to identify who is most at risk, who would be most likely to be a victim of these crimes. If you have Cato and if you have The Economist saying none of the Summer of Love was political violence, if someone was shot point blank because he was a Trump supporter on camera, it was described almost to a point of being comical, where it's like this person, he really wanted to know that the motive was, if you are a Trump supporter, I am going to shoot you. It almost seems like someone wrote it. And that is not established. That is not in the record as political violence. Then the crime statistics serve no purpose. They serve no purpose because they're of no utility in establishing the most likely targets. This isn't political football. We are being hunted, and that is not hyperbole. We are being hunted. And I know this because we have feelers out in all these bowels of the internet, these message boards, the same people who gleefully celebrated Charlie Kirk's death saying, yeah, Crowder's next. Also saying, yeah, we need to get ICE next. This is not a surprise to people like us who monitor this. This is what the left wants. It's going to get worse. They're trying to set a tone of fear for you. You need to set a tone of fear for them through lawful, violent self-defense. I'm not saying that you carrying would have stopped this. What I'm saying is the tone in this country is that conservatives are sitting ducks, whether it's ICE, whether it's a public speaker with an opinion, or whether it's some conservative on social media who, my God, had a post that went too viral. Now you're a trophy. They are hunting you. They are establishing a target. They are stalking you, and they are trying to kill many of you, many of us. Let's be clear about that. Gerald, yes.
So really quickly, just on The Economist, they're actually just parroting other research, right? So they're basically giving their credence to it from the prosecution project, just so people know that this is not just The Economist problem. They're just putting stuff out there like, hey, see the research? Yeah. Here's what I really wanted to get to. Kash Patel just put out a post from the FBI with images of the rounds. You see that right now on the screen, also on CNN. They said that the investigation is ongoing. But that obviously you can see that this is anti-ICE rhetoric.
I can't see what it says.
It says anti-ICE on the bottom of it. That's the first one. It said the more updates are happening. I'll read from his post here. These despicable, politically motivated attacks against law enforcement are not a one-off. We are only miles from Prairieland, Texas, where just 2 months ago an individual ambushed a separate ICE facility targeting their officers. It has to end. FBI and our partners will lead these investigative efforts to see to it that those who target our law enforcement are pursued and brought to the fullest extent of justice. This has been happening at other places within the state of Texas, not just randomly trying to figure out maybe could we possibly discern or divine the motive of somebody who is anti-ICE right now, taking shots at them. And this very clearly seems like not just, and people have said this, maybe a copycat of Charlie Kirk with some of the messaging on there, but also the shooter in Minneapolis. Sending messages, like leaving behind these kinds of things. It's not that you are just radicalizing people. It is that the mainstream candidates, political office holders, the president previously of the United States has said that the greatest threat to the United States is MAGA.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you something.
With a background of red.
So this is going to get worse, and let me tell you exactly why. And sorry, I'm just kind of abandoning a lot of stuff that we had, some really fun things for the show today.
We'll have it tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll have some of it tomorrow. The Tylenol stuff. We'll still get to some of it. Just in the last week, okay, we had obviously have this right now. This ICE shooting. You had the shooter at the ABC affiliate, right? Kimmel was a leftist. Obviously, Charlie Kirk. There have been several others, and if you want to play the game that the left does, willing to bet that the mentally ill person who stabbed Zarutska, we have not forgotten about you. Family of yet another martyr to. It's a sacrifice, I should say, not a martyr, a sacrifice at the altar of leftist crime policy. So if you want to classify it as political violence, well, maybe at that point you could classify it as violence really at the hands of the judges who let this person out 14 times.
Some good news there. I don't know if it passed or not. I read it quickly this morning, but I believe it's North Carolina, South Carolina, whatever it is. They just passed new legislation, or they're putting it through to end cashless bail.
Good.
So I don't know if it passed or not. We'll probably get an update. But.
Good. It only took many lives and bloodshed. And who could have seen it coming? Here's the thing. I don't think there's an off-ramp. Here's why I think it's going to get worse. And I know their hands are going up here like it's a kindergarten classroom because we have updates, but I do want to get to you. Noodles, love you.
We're good.
I said this, the only acceptable response after Charlie Kirk would have been if the left said, okay, all right, look. We went too far with the Nazi, the fascist, saying he was a transgenocidist, whatever term they use. We went too far with the racism, the sexism, saying that they want to do away with democracy. We understand that we box people in, and we have really escalated this. We're sorry. We need to do better. And called on their constituents. If the leadership had called on the constituents of the left, said, you guys, tone it down. Because, of course, this side now is pretty upset. Of course, those on the right are upset because they're being targeted. That would have been the only acceptable response. Instead, what kind of a message do you think it sends when you look at the YouGov polls and the same kind of polls after the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, where a majority of Democrats, a majority of self-professed liberals believe that political violence is somewhat acceptable to completely acceptable. Only 38% said completely unacceptable, compared to about 80% of Republicans. What kind of a message do you think it sends when instead of taking accountability, left, all of you, instead of taking accountability and saying it's incumbent upon us to undo what we have done, every single vigil, memorial, any event honoring Charlie Kirk was met with protests or spitting or desecrating, what kind of a message do you think that sends? Yeah, this is how it's going to go. And when that happens, that response has, of course, inspired and galvanized more people. It is going to get worse unless something happens from the federal government at this point. You are one successful social media post away. You are one viral video away. You are one effective campaign run away from being hunted as well. I don't know that there's an off-ramp from this because the left doesn't seem to want to take it, and it requires them to act first. And every chance at bat, they've decided, nope, they're going to make it a both sides thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. You guys can comment. I don't know that there's coming back from this unless the left, and I don't think they're going to do it. And so that's why I'm advocating that you defend yourself and make sure that the tone changes in this country where we have people standing up and at least immediately helping Zarutska, ideally blowing that guy away to Carlos Brown Jr.
Yeah.
Where we have people at any, we should have had people at any, prove me wrong, at any public event from any conservative speaker where if someone acts up and someone winds up to whip something, they are met with a hail of fists. I mean, where security is told, you err on the side of strong arming them, stiff arming them out. No more peaceful will treat you like children because you get mad and say we're infantilizing you. Well, then let's treat the left like the criminals they are, like you would in any other scenario if you had to defend life and limb. I know it wouldn't have stopped this. The tone in this country needs to change. The left needs to be afraid to show up and to mess with you and to be violent, because I am telling you this. We're in all of their message boards, all of their forums, all of their channels. They do not fear consequences right now. They think you're a freebie, you're a sitting duck. That has to change. And I walk that back zero. Yes, Noodles, Joe.
So really quick, I've got it. So it's Irana's law, I think, is what they called it. Josh, they passed that to end cashless bail. So good job there. I mean, that's
great news.
Hopefully that can prevent some of these future tragedies.
Keep somebody off the streets for a little bit.
Yeah. So what I want to look at too, and maybe social team, if you guys can maybe follow me on this a little bit, I want to catalog everybody who is putting out this kind of a post and give them the opportunity, call them out, tag them in a post. Maybe do a collage or something like that. Hey, here's an opportunity for you to take this and walk this back. John Favreau is one of those guys right now. So I want you to just scroll up a little bit.
To be clear, John Favreau, the influencer, not the director.
Not the director. That's true. So do me
not Happy Hogan.
Pull that up and scroll down really quickly. Hold on. Scroll down just a little bit more. So that's the JD Vance post that we put out. I want to read the community note. So scroll down a little bit more right there. According to an ICE spokesperson, the 3 individuals shot were ICE detainees, leaving 2 individuals dead and 1 injured. No law enforcement were injured, blah, 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 right? So it uses that as a community note to try to say the president's wrong. Pull it back up and go up to John's part. The vice president is not a reliable source of information. This is now the 5th or 6th time he's posted a political take contradicted by facts from his own law enforcement agencies. John, ready to take that back? Krasensteins, you ready to take it back? Angry staffer, you ready to take it back? Every single one of you people. Here's why I'm saying that. You can draw a straight frickin' line from the rhetoric of the left, from the mayor of Los Angeles not clamping down, from people putting out ICE notification apps and putting out, hey, they're on their way over here. Hey, these ICE agents live at this place. The doxing, the lack of having a mask on. You can draw a straight line from that conduct and that rhetoric to today. It has to stop, but it has to come from you guys. If it does not, I never want to hear another word from you about violence again. Not school violence, not any guns in the United States, not ICE, none, zero, no talk. Here's your chance.
Yep. You mentioned California, and you said, who could have seen it coming? I mean, we all saw it coming. Trump saw it coming. Sent the National Guard to go protect the ICE facility, and they complained about that.
Yeah.
They were mad that troops were just standing out front of an ICE facility so they couldn't do harm to ICE agents.
We covered that live all night.
That angered them. That made them upset. Lawmakers are, again, I'm not sure if it passed, but they have a new law that's been put through, legislation in California to ban law enforcement agencies for covering their faces.
Yep. This is what the left does, right? They did it with Donald Trump when they burned down the church and they tried to ransack the White House. We showed you that clip. They said, we're going to kill you. And if Donald Trump doesn't come out, he's a coward. He's Bunker Don. If he comes out, he dies. So If it's lawlessness and a sanctuary city, for example, in Los Angeles, well, for them, that's a win. And if ICE shows up with a mandate of the masses to help establish law and order, well, we'll just label them Gestapo. We'll label them Nazis, and they'll be attacked. And that's just as good. It's also a win. I'll tell you how you solve this. I will tell you what would make a measurable impact on this, okay? First off, I guess if you have a ding, we should, crime policy, we change. No more cashless bail, no more catch and release. I'd like to see something like the 3-strike policy come back. That would deal with a lot of crime. Unfortunately, the political affiliation of those committing crimes would be overwhelmingly Democrat, so it will be opposed. In addition to that, I would like to see, and I will partner up with anyone out there, if there's an organization, if there is someone in a state who maybe is starting this, some kind of legislation that requires campus police to provide equal protection to speakers. A requirement to do so. A requirement if a speaker is requested and is showing up. It doesn't matter if it's Noam Chomsky, if it's a socialist, or a college Republicans or TPUSA chapter. There needs to be legislation requiring it, because we know that you run into that a lot, where they don't show up to protect you. They demand that they pull your permit at the last second. They make you less safe. And then we need the kind of accountability for inspirations to violence from the left, as they've tried to falsely place on the right. Actual direct calls to violence. The Reddit Louder with Crowder was removed. It was the most civil place there. Places where people gleefully celebrate and call for the deaths of other people are still up. How in the hell were people getting removed for questioning vaccine mandates and people calling for the death of American citizens? It's still up. You can go read them now. We got to do something about Section 230. Let's start with that. Mm-hmm. And then you individually defend yourself lawfully, ruthlessly, lawfully. Defend yourself. Let's change the tone. Let's set the tone, boys. Let's set the tone.
And, you know, one of the things that we're really good about doing on the right is not these boycotts, but really a boycott, right? Yeah. Remember when they went after Chick-fil-A and people just showed up in droves to support them, and Hobby Lobby and a bunch of other companies throughout this. And I don't know what the necessary equivalent is for this, but I do want people to show support. So I actually changed shirts on purpose. And before you say anything about this, the Hodge twins sell this kind of merch. Go to their store and buy it right now. I bet Alex Jones does. I bet Steve Bannon does. I don't care where you get it, if it's ours at crowdershop.com or anybody else's. Get something that shows ICE support. If you know people that work for ICE in law enforcement, send them Tiff's treats. Do something to show them that, hey, look, I get that the media and these politicians and people are out here chanting and yelling at you every single day. Thank God that you signed up for this job to go out there and help get people that are in this country illegally, could be criminals on top of that, being a criminal of entering this country illegally, and human trafficking and drugs. Thank God that you took on the responsibility of doing that. Show them the support. Have whatever version of a boycott it is to support ICE right now.
Could
do
be
it proudly.
Could be TPUSA if they have a shop.
Yeah,
hey,
TPUSA
your favorite,
as well.
Whoever it is.
I wore this shirt by coincidence.
Good.
Well, I saw it and I was like,
good.
Perfect. We have
Let
to
your freak
support them.
flag fly.
Yes.
That is, you know what? That's not a controversial opinion.
I don't
At
think
any
so.
point throughout human history up until 2008. Just to be clear, it's not. But now it's violence. And I will say
I'd like to make a slight correction. Obama was on the record for having the most deportations in history.
At that point, he did.
So,
let's break the
I wouldn't even say about the idea, maybe 2008, but what was actually happening.
Yeah, what was versus his rhetoric talking about dreamers, right? Because he wanted to have some kind of order in the country because he knew it could get away from him, but he did that quietly while saying, hey, these people are just seeking a better life. He knew that many of them were criminals. He knew that many of them had no business being here, and he deported a huge number of them. The left doesn't live by the left's rules, ever. That's a big difference. They can't. Oh, you're still here? And you're still watching this on YouTube? You've probably noticed something is missing by now. I'm not here. That's because the Live Daily Show is now streaming exclusively on Rumble weekdays at 11 a.m. Eastern. Tune in there, where nothing is censored.